enthusiastic student with many dreams and trying to do the best I can to someone who's enrolled in special education, barely graduating, and trying to really understand what God is trying to do in this small life of mine. He has still allowed me to experience His faithfulness and His power, that He is a real and living God with healing powers, working inside and outwardly. So we fast forward to after high school. I made it, I graduated, everyone was very happy, and I didn't even notice that my eyes were actually getting better. I was so used to having large font, homework, and extra time, and people reading to me, and just adjusting to life, that I might be blind, you know. I look at my dad, how he was living. I even asked about government programs that he was enrolled in case I have to go through that program as well. So I was trying to embrace a life of blindness already. And so when I went to college, and I remember one day when I went to the doctor's office to check on my eyes, he decided to check on the vision of my eyes. Usually he doesn't check on the vision because it's bad. So he just checks to make sure the inflammation is okay, I'm stable, glaucoma is not returning, cataracts are not returning. But that day he decided to check on my vision, and we found that I was no longer 20/400, I was near 20/40. It was from 400 to 40, and he was like, what happened? And I just said, I prayed a lot. A lot of people prayed for me. It's God Himself. And so he said something that triggered me, because before he said I couldn't drive, and he said 20/40, if we wait to 2030, it's good enough to get a driver's license. Priscilla, do you realize that? And that really shocked me, because to most people, getting a driver's license, it's not that big of a deal. But to me, that was a symbol of how well my eyes were, how bad it was, and how good it became later. In faith, I then asked God for a birthday present, that next year I would get my driver's permit and then also get my driver's license. In 2001, 1 year after I graduated high school, I got my driver's license, I got my permit, I passed the vision test on both eyes. It was so good that I passed the vision test, and then I got my driver's license. A year later, in addition, God basically wanted to show that not only that driver's license was possible, I could even go a step further. A year after that, I got my motorcycle license. Now, again, to a normal person, a motorcycle license may not be a big deal, but one thing I have to maintain is my vision, number one, and the strength of my body, the strength of my joints. Riding a motorcycle is a very physically challenging task. It looks easy, but it requires all the body, all your muscles, all your joints to be at work and be healthy and strong. So I took the class, and I was able to get my motorcycle license, and my joint sustained, the health of my joint sustained, the strength of it. When I mentioned I was younger, I took a lot of steroids that would affect the development of my joints and body. So if I fast forward to 10 years later and I got my motorcycle's license, the significance of that is that I developed in my body, my joints and everything was good enough to get a motorcycle's license. It was not deficient, it wasn't lacking. It was challenging, no doubt, but God has sustained and showed me and manifested that, hey, it's not just your license getting it or not getting it, but I want to manifest my power so great that you are going to be like and more, even greater than a normal person. So from the impossible to a very amazing story. So while God's power and presence was very apparent and obvious throughout my life through these medical episodes, I want to bring focus and attention to sharing a very specific, recent manifestation of God's power in my life through the Blazing Star ministry and through especially during the 100-day conference that we had, our 100-day of spiritual healing conference in 2015, which was also the beginning of Blazing Star. Because during those days, God manifested and poured forth His Spirit and His power very mightily in many people's life. But for me, especially in my medical condition and more, God has really poured down His power upon me. So there was an episode during the 100-day conference where I was experiencing a lot of pain in my lower abdominal area while I was at work. During the 100-day, I would go to Holy Ground to do a translation every evening. I remember during that daytime while I was working, I was praying to God, I hope this pain will go away. Please heal me because I need to translate that evening. So God helped me with the pain, but the pain kept going in very sharp pain to the point where I had to stop and hold myself and let the pain pass. So it was throughout the day. At the end of the day, when I got off my train, I ride the train to church, and I was walking to church, this pain really increased so much, and I felt like I was going to faint or I was going to collapse. In addition, my joints were flaring up too. So it was not a normal situation. I remember walking to Holy Ground. I was only 2 blocks away, and every step of the way felt like needles and on my joints and needles on my lower abdominal area. And my lower abdominal area, that pain started moving to my lower back. And as I walked closer and closer to Holy Ground, there was a very distinctive moment where I turned the corner of our street, and instantly my joint pain was relieved and the lower abdominal pain subsided dramatically. It was a very distinctive moment because I had just turned the corner and I saw the building of our church. And I was getting really excited because, well, first it was the 100-day, and I always am excited for those days, but I can feel literally the presence and the Spirit of God was in that building and where we were congregating. And I walked fast. I remember now that my joints hurt less and less, I walked faster and faster. And as soon as I opened the door and stepped foot into Holy Ground, all pain was gone. All my joint pain, all the lower back pain, all the lower abdominal pain was gone. And it was not just a subtle pain, it was a very sharp, intense pain that took my attention away. So that moment of full relief was very distinctive. Then the evening progressed. I went on stage with Pastor and I translated the message that night. As I was translating, actually, that pain sort of came back slowly. Not as sharp, but it came back subtly, and I could feel it. I remember praying in that instant, God, you have to heal me right now because I'm translating. This is a very important meeting. It's our 100 days. May your anointing just fall on me right now. And again, instantly, it just subsided. I remember as I was translating, other people who were listening were saying that, yeah, this is one of the most anointed translations I've ever heard. But little did they know I was in so much pain before and after, and then even during the translation. So I know it's God's power that was sustaining me and on me. But that wasn't the end of the story, because this is not just pain, it's about pain going in and out. When I went home that evening, the pain came back, right? And so I was telling Pastor, I don't know what this is going on. I'm sure God is healing me, but why is it coming in and out like that? And so the next day I decided to go to the emergency and check out what's wrong in case something is really wrong. I believe God can heal me, but in case something is really wrong, I really want to know what it is that He's healing. So by the time I went to the emergency room, actually the pain was all gone, because I prayed that night before. I was saying, Pastor, it's very anointed tonight. This is what I felt before. And then in the evening, I prayed really hard, and I prayed for, this is God, this is your anointed day. You're moving in a very miraculous way these days, so just heal me. And He did that night. I woke up in the morning and it was gone. But I decided to go to the emergency room to just see in case just to know what it was. And so when I went to the emergency room, the doctor had x-rays and ultrasounds on my lower ab, and they saw remnants. They didn't see the actual stone, but they saw remnants of what was a very big kidney stone that I had passed myself. It went away by myself. And she had said, I don't see the stone, but based on the remnants, I could tell it was a very big stone that normal people should not be able to pass by themselves without medical help, without coming into the hospital to get help to pass it. It just doesn't go away. You just can't expel it by yourself. It just doesn't happen. So whatever it was a big kidney stone. And so I was like, wow, that's a miracle, because that's why I was feeling so much pain, because it was a really big stone. But then at the same time, how can just walking into the church and going on stage and then just praying and asking God's anointing, just being in this area of great anointing, being amongst the people and where God's presence is so thick, that alone just helped dissipated the pain and dissipated